heart.
Oh, baby, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you like that. I just don't know how to stay. Every talk turns into pressure, and I shut down trying to explain. It wasn't nothing, it was something. But I'm tired of feeling wrong. I'm not here to erase you. I just can't keep holding on.
So let me say it clean, without a fight.
But don't ask me for forever when I don't know where we are.
If this is goodbye, I won't make it mean.
I won't pretend
September wasn't real, I can leave.
but I'll do my part.
I'll give you 1 hour
with my heart.
I needed closure, not a cut.
I didn't know how to do it, so
Look at me,
don't make it smart.
I'm looking sad.
What we were, I wanna just can't be yours.
Give me 1 hour with your heart. I'll give you 1 hour with my heart.
If this is goodbye,
Don't make it cool. Give me 1 hour with your heart.
that's all I wanted.
Give me 1 hour. You deserve that.
That's all I wanted.
You deserve that.
Don't rush me. Just listen. I'm here.
You said my name like it was finished, like you already made your peace. I smiled like I was okay, but inside I couldn't breathe. Since September we've been building, so how you drop it overnight? I'm not here to make you stay, I just need one moment right. I'm not asking you to change, I'm asking you to be real.
Give me 1 hour with your heart.
1 honest minute in the dark,
Don't hand me, you'll be fine.
like I'm easy to discard.
If this is goodbye,
Don't make it cold,
don't make it quick.
don't lose control. You can leave, I won't fall apart, but don't abandon me. Give me 1 hour with your heart.
Oh, baby, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you like that. I just don't know how to stay. Every talk turns into pressure, and I shut down trying to explain. It wasn't nothing, it was something. But I'm tired of feeling wrong. I'm not here to erase you. I just can't keep holding on.
So let me say it clean, without a fight.
I'll give you 1 hour. No running out into the dark. But don't ask me for forever when I don't know where we are.
If this is goodbye, I won't make it mean.
I won't pretend
September wasn't real, I can leave.
but I'll do my part.
I'll give you 1 hour
With my heart,
I needed closure, not a cut.
I didn't know how to do it, so
Look at me,
don't make it smart.
I'm looking sad.
My son ain't gonna say, yeah, fuck all that. My son goes, I ain't gonna, yeah, I feel you say you need to do this, but I want your son, let's make that too, though. What's my whole kid?
of course, you're going to play your role. You're going to do what you have to do. I want to make sure I'm able to do what I have to do.
That's fair.
That's it. Like, that's it. That's all. I want to be, if my son come to me, mama, can I get this, this, and this? I don't want to be like, go ask your dick.
But it ain't really,
I know, but I still like. I still
that don't make
want
sense
to have. It's not to be in competition. It's not because what you're telling me. You do this, you do that, and trust me, I don't want to work. I don't want to work, but I have a child now. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking long term. I'm not, even if I'm not just, hey, something.
Right.
Something.
Right.
That's it. I can't think for myself or, just us anymore. Mm-hmm. I got to think for him now too. Mm-hmm. God forbid you fall off. Then I can handle it.
As men, like, we need that acknowledgement. And I feel like you.
Joe, you tell me every time how so appreciative, how so grateful I am.
That's something else though.
Right. So
I ain't say you're not appreciative. That's a whole nother. I think that you don't like that I brag. You don't like that what I brag on. You think that's shitting on you.
No.
You don't like. If I was just sitting there, I wish I should have did it. I should have said to her and been like, yeah, baby, I got you. Remember, I got you 4 cars. I got you a house you want. I got you that. I promise you, you would have been like,
been so appreciative.
Hey guys, and welcome to The Landlord. Listen, we're having a conversation, myself and a few of the guys. I was just watching a video by Hitman, Holla, and his girl, and they had a little conversation, and they were talking about the fact that she wanted to go back to work, right? Even though he pays all the bills, she's got his credit card, she can spend it whenever she wants, but she said she wants to go back to work. And the reasoning for why she wanted to go back to work was to look after her son, in this space. And so I wanted to have a conversation about this because I saw a lot of the comments. I saw a lot of the guys were saying that this is her preparing herself to leave the relationship. Like, when women start doing this, they're getting themselves ready to leave the relationship. So I wanted to have a conversation around it, talk about it, break it down, and hopefully be able to have a real good conversation with a couple of the guys about understanding what happened here, but also as well how you can interpret this into your own relationships. If your girl decides she wants to get a job after you pay all the bills, should you be thinking about the fact that she gonna leave you now? Should you be thinking about that? Is it a threat to your relationship if she decides she needs a job, right? A few things down. Hopefully you guys like the conversation. You get involved and you type in the chat as well when you're engaged as well. It really helps with the conversation, but also helps as well know that you guys are heavily involved and you want to know more. All right. I'm gonna get my co-host on, and I know a few of the guys gonna come on in a few minutes as well. So shout out to them. Big bro, how we doing?
I'm all right, my bro. How's my son?
It's cool when you talk. It's just when I talk, it chops up when you have your mic open. That's all.
We'll manage it, man. But I'm all right, man. I'm ready. I watched the video. I found it quite interesting. I got a question though. Like, are they married?
I don't know if they're married. That's the thing. I actually don't know. It's not 100% clear.
Okay. That's obviously a big one, but either way, man, I'm looking forward to the conversation, my bro, as always. Looking forward to going into detail, like just kind of how we see things, man. How we see things as men, also see it from the ladies' perspective, but just educate ourselves.
All right, let's take it to the very beginning because this is what she kind of said earlier on.
Boom. But I feel like we got lost in a. Yeah, well, you ain't got to keep on saying what you, and that's what a job. She feel like she got to. I feel like she got to. She trying to not compete with me, but she feel like, well, I need a job because I don't want to feel like you said, the fear. And like you said, that's kind of slapping my face like a fear for what? My son ain't gonna, first of all, that's my son, so I ain't gonna, I feel you saying you need to be a survival for your son, but that's my son too, so what survival mode you in?
Of course, you're going to play your role. You're going to do what you have to do. I want to make sure I'm able to do what I have to do.
That's fair.
That's it. Like, that's it. That's all. I want to be, if my son come to me, mama, can I get this, this, and this? I don't want to be like, go ask your dick.
But it ain't that though, because it ain't gonna be that because you got your own.
I know that. I know, but I still want to have. It's not to be in competition. It's not because what you're telling me. You do this, you do that, and trust me, I don't want to work. I don't want to work, but like I have a child now. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking long term. I'm not, even if I'm not just, hey, something.
Right.
Something.
Right.
That's it.
Now, Jay, when you heard her say those things, man, what's your first thoughts hearing that, bro?
I wrote a lot of notes, but I know we're taking it in stages. But before then, the first thing that I actually noticed, by the way, and I'm going to say this because obviously we're talking to the guys here. He said, I read other girls, what they said in my DMs. So I know for the ladies, they would have heard that straight away. So I just want to say that's a no-no right there. I get what he's trying to say, which is the point that he gets. He, you know, in terms of what he feels that he's doing, other people can see that he's really doing his part. But when you do things like that, straight away, you're not actually listening to what your partner is saying or how your partner's feeling. Even if it sounds crazy, it doesn't matter. That's not going to help you. So kind of just to everyone, stay away from doing that. However, when it comes back to kind of what she's saying, the first thing that I thought about was that, yeah, she wants to be able to do what she wants to do, but there is something that she's not actually speaking on. That's the real issue. And it reminds me of, what was it called? It was a comedy series on Netflix called Black AF, right? And some guy called Kenya Barris. It was almost like a mock you type of comedy series because he actually really was a producer. And I remember one particular episode where the same scenario kind of happened, where his wife was a lawyer, high-flying lawyer. She met him when he wasn't really up in the game, but he said, listen, once I get up there, you don't have to work. Basically, he fulfilled his role perfectly. And there came a point in time where she started acting like, I can't remember this lady's name, but started doing things exactly like her. And throughout the episode, it was funny because it was 2 episodes actually. But you could see where he really couldn't figure out what's going on. Like, why is she so unhappy? I've literally fulfilled my role. So he started doing things to kind of overcompensate as a man, etc. It was hilarious anyway. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. But when it boils down to the end episode, all it turns out is that there is something inside of herself that she wasn't happy with. And she wanted to do more than just be, what can I say, kept, do more than just be a mother. But not until like down the line till they had a real heart-to-heart where they almost had a mad argument, almost caused a lot of issues, that she actually admitted the problem isn't you, the problem is me. So for me, in this scenario, yeah, things can be a lot better, but I don't look at it as he's the problem. Again, I look at it as there's something going on inside of her that she is not saying. And as we continue to watch, you'll see why I'm saying that, because there are telltale signs that she does that either she doesn't want to say or she's still trying to figure it out. But she's not, cognizant of how she's actually behaving as opposed to what it's actually looking like. But yeah, bro.
No, I think it's a good breakdown, bro. I think that's a good breakdown. I'll play a little bit more of the clip and then we'll discuss a bit more.
My son ain't gonna, like, yeah, first of all, that's my son, so I ain't gonna, yeah, I feel you saying you need to be in survival mode for your son, but that's my son too, so what survival mode you in?
Right, of course, you're going to play your role. You're going to do what you have to do. I want to make sure I'm able to do what I have to do.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's it. That's all. I want to be, if my son come to me, mama, can I get this, this, and this? I don't want to be like, go ask your daddy.
But it ain't that though, because you know it ain't gonna be that because you got your own.
I know that. I know, but I still that don't make sense though. It's not to be in competition. It's not because what you're telling me, you do this, you do that. And trust me, I don't want to work. I don't want to work. But like, I have a child now. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking long term. I'm not, even if like, I'm not just, hey, something.
Right.
Something.
Right.
That's it. I can't think for myself or, just us anymore. Mm-hmm. I got to think for him now too. Mm-hmm. God forbid you fall off. Then I can handle it.
As men.
Now, she did say, God forbid if he falls off, then she can handle it. But her original purpose and reasoning was never that. Her original purpose and reasoning was because she has, and she actually said the words, her son. She didn't say ours. She said her son as well. So we can see there's this distinction where there is a gap between the two. There's a disconnect here in terms of the teamwork. And like you said, there's something deeper as to why she wants this job. This job is not to do with the fact that she just needs to make money. She's not saying the obvious thing and trying to use the job as a cover-up. But bro, go ahead, man.
That's exactly what I was thinking, bro. When I heard that, it was like a switch. I was like, I see it. And I think the first line that she said anyway was she wants to be able to do what she needs to do. So what we typically see, that it's about her. It's about how she feels or whatever is going on, because she actually doesn't have to worry about anything. This is the point. It's about her, or what's going on with her, and why she feels that she wants some level of agency. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting some agency. But what we will see later is that she even says she doesn't want to work. So then what's going on then? Because your actions are contradicting what exactly you're doing. And that's confusing for anyone. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But another point that I kind of drew out was she doesn't want to work. Yeah, fine, cool, long term. But she says something. So what is that something? Because to me, you know what that something is. And like you're saying, bro, the fact that she then went into what if you fall off, that wasn't that wasn't what you put out there first. It wasn't a concern of, can he sustain this? This is literally about you. And by the way, that's okay. There's no shade, there's no issues, there's no none of that. It's understandable. But this is what you get when someone isn't being truthful with themselves, or maybe sometimes doesn't even know how to verbalize exactly what's going on, and kind of sees what's happening, but doesn't kind of pick up themselves and say, all right, do you know what? I need to have a real conversation with myself because I'm actually harming my relationship. And I think I'll go back to the point again. She doesn't actually want to work. So we're in this life where ladies are cussing men, saying, you know, you're broke this, you're broke that. He is happy that I'm able to do this for the woman that I love and my child, etc. But she's unhappy, bro. She's unhappy. And again, we can speculate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hear when people say, oh, she's trying to find a way out. I thought that same way too. But it's not necessarily the case. Could be, but it's not necessarily the case. Maybe she don't want to be with no other guy. She doesn't see, you know, this guy as truly even going to fall off. But it's simply down to whatever's going on inside of her. And by the way, this is very common in today's modern society because some ladies are not used to that. They're not used to having to rely on a man, especially. So as much as, I don't know how long they've been together, but it could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it doesn't really matter. Eventually gets to a point where the uncomfortability starts to grow. So at that point, what do? Do you continue to harm your relationship or marriage, or do you have a real conversation with yourself and then the person? And by the way, before I stop, it also reminds me of when we discussed Gabrielle Union a couple of years ago in her situation. She didn't need to do all of that, but the reason why she did is because of what was going on inside of her. But yeah, my bro.
Yeah, bro, you nailed it to that one as well, bro. And yeah, man, I just she's not saying the obvious. And I think that's the key thing as to why this is dragging on longer than it actually is. He senses something's not quite right because the logic doesn't make logic sense. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when the logic's not logicking. And so he's clocking it and he's trying to figure it out, but I don't think he has the tools to be able to really to dig a little bit deeper to understand it, right? And I think that's what's going to cause bigger issues because he's going to dig, he's going to get to a point where he can't feel like he can dig anymore. And what do you do when you can't dig anymore? But yeah, like she's like you said, she doesn't want to work. She said it quite clear. She doesn't actually want to work, which means it's a trust issue. It's a trust issue, right? Which is on her side. Whether he done something, we don't know. But there's a trust issue here in terms of letting him have all the quote unquote power in the relationship to provide, because she feels like she needs a level of autonomy in order to have a level of freedom and a level of power. So until she gets that, she probably isn't going to feel comfortable in that space. Whether he did something or not, we don't know. But we're just saying this is understandable as to why this gets to the point. So to rush quickly to she wants to leave isn't always the case. So I definitely agree that. I'll play a bit more of the clip.
Just before you play it,
oh, sorry, bro. Yeah, go for it.
Just before you play it, and I just thought of this just now. Pay attention to how hard she is. Considering that what she's getting is meant to make her soft, I think we need to pay attention to how hard she is in this moment, at least when discussing the subject, because we haven't seen, you know, the rest of it, but at least discussing this. And it's that's something to really pay attention to, how hard she is in that moment and how uncomfortable this conversation is making her. But yeah, bro.
No word of a lie. I definitely hear that, bro. On point.
And I think that
I feel like you.
Joe, you tell me every time how so appreciative, how so grateful I am.
That's something else, though.
Right. So
I ain't say you're not appreciative. That's a whole nother. I think that you don't like that I brag. You don't like that what I brag on. You think that's shitting on you.
No.
You don't like. If I was just sitting there, I wish I should have did it. I should sit there and been like, yeah, baby, I got you. Remember, I got you 4 cars. I got you a house you want. I got you that. I promise you, you would have been like,
so appreciative.
No, it ain't.
You work so hard.
Here you go. See, this is not even what I'm talking about. I didn't say you're not appreciative. I said you would have been like, do you know you can still be like, you ain't got to keep saying what you read for me without not being appreciative. That don't mean you're not appreciative.
No. If I'm telling him, you don't have to keep throwing that in my face. That means we got into it.
He's
saying it.
But I think that's the problem.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm.
So that's another part of the conversation. Is he throwing it in her face? Is she interpreting it as him throwing it in the face? He sounds like he's trying to brag. He didn't get to finish. I didn't fully flesh out what he fully was saying, but I understood a bit of it in regards to what he was trying to explain. But yeah, Jay, I don't know if you got something from that. I didn't want to go too far because I'm they're gonna explain the next part at that point.
Do you know what? Even the way he still smiles when he's talking about it means he generally enjoys doing, and he speaks on it anyway, but he genuinely enjoys doing this for his missus. He genuinely enjoys, right? We can't gaslight the situation and take her side in it. Like, no, generally he enjoys doing it. All this boils down to is how she's receiving it in that moment. And yes, it's a projection, because when he's doing it out of joy. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe there's a scenario where he says it too much to people. I'll do this for my girl and I'll do this for my girl. Cool, no problem. That's cool. Be careful, because people have evil eyes out there. Other ladies will see that. These ladies in these DMs are not just saying, oh, I wish I found a man like you. No, they want you. So be careful, my guy. But the fact that, she's unknowingly side-eyeing him, like whatever's going on in the inside is coming out. It's coming out. And that's a trigger. Whenever he says it, it's a trigger, but that's not the only trigger that's going to exist. In general, she is extremely uncomfortable with the whole situation. And there has to be a starting point. Even if it grew, no problem. But there has to be a starting point to get to the bottom of this. Because right now, and I think he was right, bro, saying he doesn't have the capabilities to unpack that. So I remember we was talking to one of our bros in a call. I won't say his name, of course, but I was talking to our bros, and one of the things that we identified that with his missus, he has to act like a therapist, because what she's saying to him, we know is not it. It's not it. There's way more going on that we can tell, but she needs to speak on that. And she probably is not going to. So he can't just sit on the fact that, this is what she's saying to me. No, he kind of has to unpack. He kind of has to create the uncomfortability, not to cause harm, but to have conversations. We're going to have to be uncomfortable. As we know, bro, to have certain conversations with our missus, we know there's going to be uncomfortability in the room. And we have to be okay with that and navigate that. Try to navigate that in a healthy way. And to me, I'm in agreement, bro. The longer that there's this disconnect, there's no solving this issue. It's just going to grow.
Yeah, bro, 100%, bro. And yeah, it generally looks like he does enjoy providing for her. And I think that, and where she obviously said, he might be bragging on it again. There needs to probably be an unpacking on that, because so that maybe he understands where she's coming from when she said you're bragging. Because for him, he may be thinking, I'm bragging, but not the way that you're thinking of bragging. I'm bragging in terms of like, I'm happy to do this. I love doing this for my girl. I love doing that. But she may be also reading it like, well, she says obviously you're throwing it back in her face. So throwing it back in your face is quite different from bragging. You know what I mean? Like bragging is like, being bigging up and everything. But to say that he's putting it in your face, that's another story. Probably needs to be unpacked a little bit in terms of, okay, when you say he's throwing it in your face, what do you mean by that? So we understand, because again, he generally might be throwing it back in her face, right? He might be using it in arguments and saying, but I do this, or it might even come across that way because you're having an argument and saying it, or it may be that she's interpreting it and it's not actually that's what's happening. So that needs to be unpacked a little bit more to understand. And this way we can't go easy in relationships, because sometimes it's like, you have to unpack individual parts of what someone says to make sure that you don't just take it on board, because something might not be true. So you might accept it and say, okay, we don't want to argue about it, but it's not true, right? So maybe the way I'm saying something, you may think I'm being rude, but when we unpack it, it's like, no, this was actually something to do with you. You know, so you don't want to, and again, that's why you have to take your time with it. But we don't want to be raising our voice, crying about it, screaming, shouting. You want to keep it as calm as possible so we can actually be in a clear thinking space. Be like, wait, hold on, I just heard what I heard, but I don't remember doing that. So what have you seen me do or heard me say that aligns with what you just said, so that people can understand? Because they've got two different perspectives on that as well. So, I think that's another thing. Someone said, "Oh, she's 21, 22." I did not know she's that young. Okay, is she 21, 22? Okay. I didn't know she was that young. I didn't know Hitman's. If I remember correctly, Hitman's not that young. So, is he that young?
He's our age, bro.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's fine.
She can't be that young.
Hitman's 37.
Oh, she's not. She's not. She's 1994.
She's 6 years.
1994.
6 years. She'll be 31.
Yeah. She's a great woman. I was gonna say.
In fact, he's 38 this month.
And she's 38 this month. Okay, I was gonna say, she's 31. Yeah. Calm. I was like, damn, I didn't know she was 22. So, okay, cool. I mean, it adds a bit of context though. So, there's still a gap, 6 years. So, you know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but 6 years can, there's a lot of life to be lived in between that time. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. But I've been noticing that lately.
But if we're,
because I'll be on the phone. My partner be like, "Damn, you just got such, man. You just got," because she's a sneakerhead now. So I just bought a 14 pair. Like, yeah, I just got a boom, boom, and she'll be side-eyeing me. Like, it's like every time I kind of say something, you'll be like,
see, I didn't know. I'm just now hearing this.
I told you, I just brought it up. I'm telling you.
So, like we said, everybody's emotions are valid. So what he's saying, maybe it's really happening, although you're not doing it on purpose.
But I never said she was doing it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said right now, I think, because I've been hearing more jobs. Like, this is what I've been hearing more. And I'm thinking is, okay, I think 1 + 1 is 2. She feel, for whatever reason, she don't like me bragging or whatever. That does not say you appreciate for everything I got you. But that don't mean that you don't think, even right now, look at I'm telling you, this is the face. This is the.
I don't see anything wrong with the face.
No, there's something wrong with the face. I can't lie to you. If you can't see there's something wrong with the face, darling, I don't know what you're looking at. Shit. Old girl's face is telling us a whole story in itself. But Jay, go for it, bro. He said there's nothing wrong with that face. I said, are you looking at the face I'm looking at?
Bro, as soon as she said that, I had to write it down. Like, nah, she's trying to gaslight the situation, but she's trying to come to her defense. And this is what we see all the time when trying to be a girl's girl and things like that. This is why I respect, I don't know if that's her husband or whatever, because he isn't even trying to be biased because he's a man. He's trying to say, in this particular situation, this ain't making sense. We need to kind of stay on course instead of let's pretend something isn't what it is. But yeah, straight up, she was just trying to just protect her sis, trying to say there's nothing wrong with her face. I mean, come on. You're talking about a sensitive topic and you see the escalation later. And she's stone cold. Told her the body language. There's no warmth, there's no joy, there's none of that is going on. And that's something to pay attention to. He is seeing this in the home. So for him, it's like, there it goes. But again, it's being able to draw that out to actually get a proper response, but she has to be willing to give it anyway. Maybe she's not there. But like you said, bro, you never know. Like, they've been together for years. There could be multiple things that have occurred in their relationship that has gone unresolved for all this time. And it's just reached a point where, I don't know how old their son is. I feel like their son's not young. So I feel like when I used to watch Wild 'N Out a couple of years ago, you know, this was a thing. But I know they got a YouTube channel as well. But yeah, there's so much to unpack when it comes to this that her face tells the story. And we're not even saying that she's a problem. I mean, the scenario is a problem, but we're not saying she's a bad person. We're not saying none of that. We're just saying that we've seen this many times before. In some respects, we've also been through it. If this doesn't get resolved, it's slowly going downhill. And in this situation, again, one of the things that she does, and we'll see a bit more, she keeps going back to what he already said isn't a problem. because that's her defense mechanism. Oh, I do appreciate you, etc. Maybe she does, but she can't show it in a proper way because of whatever's going on inside of her, and he doesn't have the ability to kind of get her to no, in fact, maybe he's saying it directly, right? But whatever's going on, there's a block. Like, to her, she's just not ready to talk about exactly what the issue is, so she has to make it about other things. And this is common, I'll be honest, bro. This is very common. Men do it too. This is a very common thing when people are hiding from the real truth. But that's what they say, honesty will set you free, man. It's uncomfortable. It's real talk. Sometimes it could be the end of your relationship. Sometimes you might feel like maybe you need to rediscover yourself. Hey, a conversation is needed.
So I just went to background quickly, and I wonder if I can play it. I probably can actually. I didn't know this happened. So this is a video on Wildstar, and this happened. So this might have. She got shot in the face.
I remember now. This is like, what, 5 years ago or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I remember now.
I forgot about the situation. So that can take a major toll on a relationship, especially if they haven't done any therapy in between that time to really work through it. The guilt that he might feel, the fact that she may have felt unprotected, even though there's nothing you can do, but still that's the feelings you feel. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, that can affect the emotional connection between two people, and make and cause a divide and a distance between them. You know, so yeah, I see how that can make a massive issue within the relationship in that aspect, man. You know what I'm saying to you? That can make a big difference.
And you know what? I've had a situation on that vein before where there's nothing I could have done in a situation because I wasn't there. However, the lady in question continued to feel the type of way even years later from the stance of, I didn't protect her, if that makes sense. So regardless of how the situation happened, she continued to feel that on the inside, no matter what I said, no matter how I explained it. It's just something that she never ever got rid of. And I agree with you, bro, that can build into her just not feeling safe. And like I was saying earlier, that could have started small. Maybe she understood a bit, but that not being dealt with or going through therapy or counseling, like you're saying, this is real trauma. This is real trauma on the individual, trauma on the whole relationship. That, yeah, isn't it, Canon? But that seed can grow, you know, and to the point where there's this barrier that you just can't get over. And that's happened to me, bro. Like, not me specifically, but with the lady I was with. But with that relationship, you can see, yeah, there's something blocking this. And it's because regardless of whether she was right or wrong, the feeling that she had was, she can't trust me. She can't trust me with herself. She doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel kept. Doesn't feel covered, etc. And I'll be honest, you hear ladies often talk about stuff like this, sometimes from a ridiculous point of view, but it's still understood that a lot of ladies want to feel safe with their man, especially in a home that he owns, especially when they're walking around with him or etc. And the fact that she wasn't there, so the fact that he wasn't there, was he? He was traveling, right? So the fact that happened to her means I'm literally relying on this man. He wasn't there for me. Oof, I don't want to be in that situation again. So I need to look after myself. So maybe it's got nothing to do with the money. Maybe it's got everything to do with, I need to feel like I can look after myself after this trauma.
100%, bro. 100%. Real spit.
Look.
I'm telling you.
This is the disconnect, though. The disconnect is that she feel like when you say that shit, it's like you throwing it in my face, so it's like you got down bragging on that situation. Mm-hmm. But in reality, me being a man, listening to bro talk, it's like, this is not an indictment on your womanhood. If anything, this should be me propping you up because you inspired me to do this shit.
Exactly.
That's what, exactly.
And I do that.
Okay.
I do all of that. I got a million text messages from him. You're so appreciative. You're so grateful.
Right.
That's not the argument, man.
It is though, because
I never said you're not appreciative.
Right, but what you know what I'm trying to say. You're saying that if you say you do this and that, like the tennis shoes, why would I side you for telling your friends, oh, I just bought her 14 pair of tennis shoes? Shit, thank you. No. Why would I side that?
No, because you don't like me saying that. You keep.
I love you saying that.
No, you don't.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
But I'm telling you that I do.
I'm telling you what you said.
Okay, so just like how you said you feel like I'm downplaying you, and I'm telling you I'm not. Then if I'm telling you,
you told me though. You told me why you got always.
I only say that if it's an argument. That's it.
It's cool, but what I'm saying is, what I noticed is, you think I'm shitting on you for whatever reason now.
Don't think
I'm just gonna stop doing it then.
See, that's like what? Like
go to neck roll and all this.
Like this is going too far now.
Why is it going too far? Fine.
I don't even know.
I don't do it. But wait.
No, I don't.
Boy, oh boy, the conversation was starting to go left for them still. It was starting to go left. What was your thoughts on this, Jay, man? This is interesting.
Let's start from the back, right? One of the things I generally try to tell couples to avoid is doing those extreme responses. Well, I'm just going to stop doing it then. That's not the way to solve an issue. Like, even if the person is not, even if you can tell, now something's going on here, like, what's really going on? The answer is, well, I'm going to stop doing it. Because that's not what they actually want. They don't want you to actually stop doing it. But again, they may not be being truthful, or they don't even know how to put the words together to actually find out what exactly they're feeling. And like you said, bro, maybe they need a good time of therapy. It's not like a one and done. This is over time. And I don't know when this was shot. I'm guessing it's recent. So that means this seed would have been growing for the past 5 years or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? And one of the things I was thinking about while that was playing is, we also don't know, is he using this as a way of overcompensating because he wasn't there in one of the most traumatic points that she's had in her life, and therefore they haven't really had a proper sit down. Like, they would have talked about it, but in terms of truly, like, not just at the time, but in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years time, let's still unpack this. Just because it's been time back in the day doesn't mean we still can't unpack this, because now we have new feelings. Now we have new thoughts. Now we have new considerations. That's one thing I say to couples all the time. Something might have hurt you 6 months ago. It doesn't mean you just got over it 6 months later or whatever. No, like, talk about it. Even if it's a year, 2 years, let's address it. Let's talk about it, because you don't know that seed can easily be, that seed could have grown during all that time, even if you're not actually being a problem in your relationship. And it's also one thing not to dismiss it as well. And you can see with him, he really wants to try and understand, but he's not understanding. He has to ask different questions because she's not answering. And this is one of the things that, a lot of couples get themselves into. So they literally are addressing 2 different points. And this is where the disconnect is. So even when I look at my notes, I mean, my point was, she is not being honest about what really is going on. So there is a disconnect between what she thinks she's doing and the reality. Yeah, my bro.
Bro, I'm agreeing with you, bro. That there's a disconnect. There's definitely a disconnect, and it's interesting because he went to the most extreme at the end. I'll just stop doing it then. It's like, but in that little instance, they kind of both just kind of invalidated each other, right? So, she was misquoting him about the appreciation, because he's already said 3 times it's not the appreciation. At the same time, he was trying to tell her what she felt by saying you don't like it, but saying she definitely said it, when she's also trying to say that's not what point I'm making. So they're both saying the same thing to each other. You're trying to tell me what I'm saying. So how about we both stop saying what we think the other person's saying? You know what I mean? So that is an indication about the way that they actually talk to one another on a regular basis. There's a lot of invalidation. There's a lot of, I know what you're saying, rather than kind of asking another qualifying question. Like, is that what you mean? Because this is what I'm hearing. But is that what you mean? And so I think it gets to a point when that happens, that people find it difficult then to emotionally connect. So he's laughing, he seems jovial, but he might be underneath a bit more pissed off than he's actually showing. And she's showing off that she's really pissed off, but in reality, right? She may also feel disconnected. So at that point, the conversation has to pause, and someone has to take the lead and say, hold on, we're missing each other. You just said something that I know I didn't, that's not what I'm saying. You're telling me I'm saying things you're not saying. We got to stop. And then let's take it one at a time, not interrupt each other. Let me try and get to grips with what you're saying, because otherwise we're going to keep missing each other. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Another key point as well to add to that is when they argue, it seems that, well, she admits that she goes for low blows or whatever, right? She says specific things to him. Now, one of the things that I thought she was also saying earlier, so I had to kind of listen to it again, was that he does the same thing. And he could, but they don't actually address that point. But the other bit is, if during normal conversation, you can't even get to the bottom of it, but then during argument, this is also what you hear, all that's going to do is you're going to keep damaging each other. That's the thing, because you're never truly getting to the bottom of whatever the issue is. And it just reminds us often that my pastor was saying about a couple that he counseled, that for 3 hours he sat with them and there was no solution. They kept on finding different things and going about everywhere. I remember you said he was just sitting there thinking, nah, what is going on here? So then he said, all right, let me go back to my teachings. Let me go back to square one, counseling square one. And then he started asking specific questions. Now, their issue has nothing to do with this issue. It's a completely different issue. But the point is, and I reiterate it, there's something much deeper going on, probably with both of them, to be honest with you, because they were both traumatized by what happened, right? But, you know, I'm going to say this, it seems that from the more of the negative side, she has naturally been more negatively affected, understandably, because she was the one that was shot, right? She's the one that had to recover. She's the one that probably had the questions is, why wasn't he there, etc. And we don't know what other conversations had prior, because maybe that was an issue in their relationship, that he wasn't around. She felt alone. See what I mean? So over time, that grows. That's going to grow. And there is a much deeper conversation they need to have. But like you're saying, bro, they're not creating that space for them to do it. If anything, even though he is not attacking in the most obvious way, she feels attacked. So therefore, she's now on the defensive. But she's also not saying, all right, I understand why you're being that way. Let me actually kind of clear up the understanding. So they're both missing each other what they need. So they need serious therapy. I can't lie to you, bro. They actually need serious therapy. Let me see my notes. One thing I'll say as well, and I'll say this for a lot of people, sometimes what stops them actually getting to the bottom of whatever the issue is that they're focused on trying to defend themselves from being made out to be a bad person. And when you're doing that, you're not actually listening to what the other party is saying. You're just being defensive. They don't say it in here, but some people go to the extreme. Oh, well, I'm a bad person then. Break up with me and all this type of stuff. And it's like, that's so annoying, to be honest with you, when people do that. But we, from a nervous system point of view, maybe sometimes from a neurodiverse point of view, from a trigger, from a trauma, sometimes this is also what can be going on. That I know something has changed. I know I'm not operating at the most healthy right now. I know if we were to really sit down, I would probably come across as the one who needs more of the work in this moment, but I'm not ready to address that. I'm not ready to really talk about that or admit that. So I'm going to put up these defenses. I'm going to put up these walls. I can see it's frustrating my partner because it goes both ways. I can see it's harming my relationship, but I'm not truly ready yet. Or I can't talk to him. I can't talk to her. There's something that's preventing me from doing it. So yeah, this is way more complex than what some people might think. Especially because he's doing his job. This is America, don't forget. we know the conversations in America about provision, a man's provision, retiring his lady, etc. One thing I will say, yeah, she's 31, so she's in her prime, right, of the boss chickeness and all that type of stuff. So, but obviously, yeah, it's not enough. But what I don't want is the red pill man them to use this as a conversation to say, see, you can't make any woman happy, blah, 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 and etc. Because this is not the situation. This does not call for that conversation. there is something much more deeper going on here that actually needs a mature point of view, not some of that immaturity. But yeah, just what they're doing is not working. And I'm actually more surprised that he's still able to laugh and joke, to be honest with you. Because the way that she's responding, you can see how deep it is for her. Naturally, is he missing the fact that there's something deep going on? Is he missing that in his relationship and he's just so focused on, I'm doing all of these amazing things, everyone can see it, but he's missing actually what his missus needs from him in that moment.
100%, bro. I'm with you on that one. Let's put a more the clip.
We ain't gonna do that because it's going to like the extreme.
No, because I'm
do the
saying
extreme.
is, like, if I'm telling, this is me. If I'm saying you're using all of this against me, is when we argue. And what I'm saying is, now I want a job because I'm telling you I want a job because of my son, our son. That's it. That's not me trying to shit on you. That's not me trying to be in competition or anything. Like,
but question, and again, this is just me.
I want to pause it right there, right? Because I wish they let her finish because she actually touched on something, right? Because this could have been an answer, but old boy on the right hand side, I know he's from the crew, used to be from the crew, whatever. He just interrupted her before she landed and could have explained it fully. And both men and women do this, by the way, but that is not a mediator. The mediator is actually not mediating anymore. At that point, he should have kept quiet because the girl was actually starting to open up and share where she was going and what the issue, one of the issues is. And now we find out it is in an argument you're using it, which will always sound like you're throwing it in somebody's face. Even if you're meaning it in a well-intended purpose of saying, oh, like, you keep moaning about this, but you can see I'm doing all of this. It will look like you're throwing it in the person's face because the timing of the conversation. So I just wish he didn't say anything because whatever he's about to say is not as important as her about to explain the whole situation as to why she feels the way she does. And then when she finishes, we can go, wait, hold on. Before you think about that, you've landed. What about this perspective? But we can't do that now because we've interrupted her thought process, which means she's probably going to feel even more silenced. And now she feels silenced, not just with him, but also with him, this other guy. So it's like, you know what I mean? That's going to be double compounding in that space. But yeah, go for it, Jay.
No, straight away, I thought the same thing, bro. Like, it was like, okay, she finally was here. And it means that he wasn't listening at that, or properly listening at that time as well. He said, nah, I gotta just, yeah, and people do this. But to reiterate something I said earlier, as I was watching that, I was thinking, I think they actually both feel guilty, but for different reasons. And it goes back to, he feels guilty for leaving her. That, you know, that situation hasn't really recovered. But I started to think, there's probably a part of her that feels guilty because she knows that she is not, what can I say, rising to the occasion with what he's able to do. And that's why she's a lot more on the defensive, because what she has is not non-appreciation. It's just that there is something holding her back. And I'm sure she probably feels guilty about that as well. But because that's all that's being addressed, in some ways it's unfair on her. Yeah, she needs to speak up and kind of get to the point properly of what exactly is going on. But it's also unfair because she's going to feel like she's being attacked for something that she doesn't actually feel. Do you know what I mean? Which in turn is what she's actually doing to him. So this is where it's a funny dichotomy that's actually happening here. That's it. Well, like, to me, I think it's quite obvious what they need, but it's going to be quite hard for them to get to the point. And I feel like this is probably how their relationship is in so to speak. I don't think they've properly built the tools. And by the way, this can happen to anyone, no matter how great and wise someone can think they are, what they've poured into. If you let it get to this stage, it can do for anyone, trust me. But they haven't really built those foundations to have those much more deeper conversations, because there is no way that they should still be at this level and then talking about this on the show. Now, they needed to get to a different level. I'm not saying completely solve it, but it seems like they're still at square one, knowing how long this issue has been going on for.
You know, outside, I ain't saying nobody wrong or right. If bro taking care of everything, why is the need for you to feel the urgency to have a job for the son?
Because I have to play that role. Like I said, I want to be able to provide for my son. Period.
But you are providing. It's just not financially.
I want to
She's in all
financially,
departments.
provide for my
She
son.
is providing financially too, though. How you not provide financially?
Okay, so since we're going deep, who paid my credit card bill?
I do.
Okay. So if my son is coming to me asking me, Mama, can I get this? I'm using his credit card.
But it's y'all credit card.
I see why they don't get nowhere, because we're back to square one. We're back to square one. Nothing she just said made any logical sense. It's not logical. You have a son together, and this is your son and his son. He makes money so that you both can feel free enough to spend the money. He's not even saying, hold it a minute, I give you money every month. He said, there's a credit card, just spend it. You know what I mean? Just spend it, you know? All right. Spend it how you want to spend it. You know what I mean? And so what I'm seeing is she needs to process it a bit more, because right now feelings are preceding actions, and that's why it's coming out the way it's coming out. So she hasn't processed it all the way. She needs to sit down and process it, because at this point it is mad confusing. I know what you're saying is deeper than what you're saying, because of course it's the work that we do, but if to someone who just, this is not their work, this is hella confusing. What do you mean I have to provide for my son? No, you don't have to provide for his son. We're already doing that. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? You have to provide all facets. Why would you need to provide all facets? The whole point of us coming together is we work together. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So in that instance, right, there's something else going on underneath the surface that she still isn't fully unpacking and saying the truth. We need you to say the truth. This is what it looks like, and people think that they're talking sense, but when you're hiding stuff, this is what you look like. It's just that we have it on a screen now. This is what you look like in an argument. And a lot of times, this is what ends up causing the massive argument, because someone's going to be arguing I wouldn't say straw man argument, but almost it's a hollow argument, because the argument isn't there. So they're arguing with your point, but that isn't your point. So it will always be, but that's not my point. Yeah, because that is not your point, because that's not where your point actually exists. There is no foundation to that argument. So me saying I want to make sure I provide for my son isn't the argument. So now when you start attacking the argument and saying, hold on a minute, why would you want to provide for your son? She's saying, well, because I need to be a provider. But again, that doesn't make sense. You have money. I'm giving you money. You have money on a credit card. You can do whatever you want. Who pays my credit card bill? You do. What does that mean? Like, we are a household. You live with me. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I pay it? So do you want me to stop paying it? And that, so then it's like, no, because I'm going to keep paying it, right? Because you want that. So tell us the real truth about what's happening, because you're making me go insane. And that's what is getting the frustration up, right? And that's why I said about it's going to be hard for him, because if he doesn't have the patience or the tools to kind of dig a little bit deeper to ask the right kind of questions, which I can't expect people to. That's a therapist's job. You know what I mean? That's a coach job. So, but we can see it's illogical. What she's saying right now is illogical. But we know there's something emotional happening underneath the scenes that she just hasn't been able to unearth in that space until now. So yeah, go for it, Jay.
Beautifully said, bro. Like, I felt, the first thing I felt in my mind was like, this is a useless conversation, because this is not about where we've got to, but this is what, like you said, this is what happens. And the funny thing is, I was talking to my cousin actually a couple of hours ago about like a personal situation, and the point was exactly, I'm not saying everyone can tell. Like, you have to understand psychology in a way and really know what it looks like. But there was a lot of people that will argue points that aren't really valid points. To them in the moment, yeah, it makes sense. And there might even be people who will tell them, yeah, it makes sense at the surface level. But when you go down deeper, you realize, no, but that don't actually make sense. No, actually, when I really think about this, no, that doesn't actually connect. Like, what's really going on here? And then, like you're saying, bro, you can tell there's something much more deeper going on, but this is just the surface level that you want to sit on. Maybe going to that deeper level is too much for you right now. Maybe it's too much for you in general. Maybe now's not the right time. Maybe other things need to be unpacked first, even before you get there. You know, and this is why I say it's extremely complex, because, and I'll say, even I can't remember his name, but with the bro butting in and things like that, That's because in his mind, he's feeling, what on earth is going on here? This don't make sense. I need to get to that. I need to, but he's even asking the wrong questions anyway. And the funny thing is, you got sister sitting there as well, who we would assume, since she tries to come to her defense, would understand what woman's going through. She hasn't really said anything. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, I'm not going to say it's because she doesn't know, but I'm thinking it's because she doesn't want to say anything, because if she says anything, it's also going to come across as ridiculous, and it's better for her to stay silent instead of saying to her sis, now what's really going on, because she can see this is a very sore point. And this is why, I can't remember if you got to it, but this is why she talks where she tries to end the conversation now. And then this Hitman has to say, I don't care, man, this is whatever. You can see, all right, cool. There's no resolution that's going to come on this, but you can see that not only has she reached the limit of that conversation, but she's now become even hyper aware. I can't even tell the real truth in public like this. Or this can't be the first time I speak on it, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I just found that interesting. That it's great. Have the conversation, no problem. But the resolution was not going to be found in this moment.
No, because y'all.
See, this is the disconnect, though. This is the competition I'm feeling, though. Because I feel like your son coming, like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, oh, my son coming, I want to be. Yeah, but whatever your son come and ask you for, you can make happen. Why does it got to be from some job that you got to go get? If they got to pay you to pay from that, I don't get that part. It ain't like you got to come ask me for the money. Your son gonna ask you, can I get this, mama? Yeah, give it to him. You saying I want my own, so it makes it seem like, especially when we ain't on good terms, like ain't nothing crazy happening. So it's like, let me go slave over here,
right.
Get it from her. So my son asked me, I take it from her and give it. That don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying,
but it speaks to the like fear factor that I was talking about earlier.
That's what made me bring it up, though.
Her feeling like,
I'm saying that's what made me bring it up.
If all this shit go wrong, I need to be able to goddamn stand on my own too. But y'all engaged now. Y'all not dating no more. Y'all ain't girlfriend, boyfriend no more. This shit is serious at this point. So if bro is capable of doing that, you let him do that. And again, that's not an indictment on you. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong or none of that, because I understand the mindset you speak to 100%. But in marriage and in goddamn long-term relationship, we in this shit together. Your credit card is my credit card. Your house is my house. Your goddamn whatever you is my shit. It's we. It's us. And I think that the fact that it's so hard to goddamn wrap your arms around the us and we is something that got to be addressed. That's the thing, because again, like I've been knowing bro a long time. You ain't gonna want for shit in terms of what, you know what I mean, especially with the kids and this and the third. Bro gonna do what he got to do. I understand it, but again, I see your point too. Mm-hmm. You want that independence, and you want that just in case. It's like we got to ask ourselves, why is the just in case that important if y'all engaged?
Randomly. That's what it's more like. We was together, girlfriend, boyfriend, 9 years. That never came about. So I know. I understand that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not knocking that, but I'm so much like, okay, but now I'm more so, okay, if I'm busy doing this, you want to go get a job. Now what's that going to be at?
And it's like, from his perspective,
go for it, Jay. A lot was said in that, but a lot was said, but not said, but said. There was a few in there that was not said. Yeah.
So part of this goes back to what I said about the Kenya Barris show, right? Where in that scenario, the issue was that she just wanted agency. She wanted to rediscover who she was in that sense, in the working place, because she was a high-flying lawyer just beforehand. I don't know what Cinnamon did before this, but obviously they've been together 9 years. That's what, since she was 22. Do you know what I mean? And we know that Hitman wasn't always this. I guess he earns millions, but this type of, yeah, he was famous, but to be able to do what he's able to do now, it doesn't scream that he's been able to do this for the past 9 years, right? It seems like they've gradually got to this place, and that's why he's willing to hold her down and etc. So I can understand from one point of view that, yeah, she wants agency in order to do what she needs to do, but there's always a why behind it. And in the beginning, she admitted that fear, right? So to me, again, it goes back to there is something much more deeper going on. And one thing I'll give, I can't remember, I keep forgetting his name, but the guy that was on the show, one thing I'll give him is that he is correctly identifying the concept of us is not there right now. Why? That's the only question that needs to be asked. What is going on? Because if you pay attention to her body language, it's away from him. She's very uncomfortable in her body language, but she's facing away from him. You can see that even though he's aggrieved, he wants to come closer to her, but you can see that she's completely away. And it doesn't mean she don't love him, she don't like him. It doesn't mean she wants out of the relationship, but there is a big disconnect that is either keeping him away or she's pushing him away. We just we kind of know what it is, but they both need to address that properly because he's responding to the push. And I guess she may be responding to not truly being understood. But there is so much ground in the middle that need to be covered. And also, yeah, because I asked you a question in the beginning, bro, that they've been together 9 years, engaged for a while, still not married, no security there as well. If I feel any type of abandonment because this man wasn't around in one of the most traumatic points of my life, and this man still hasn't put a ring in it despite us going through all of that and then spending all this money on me, but there's no true security, of course she's going to feel away too. Why not? Why wouldn't she? You know, so yeah, I think, again, yeah, there was a lot that was said in there, bro. And I think I've kind of gave them a more focused point of view, which they didn't really get to, but yeah, bro.
So I did a little more digging.
Let's go.
2021, there was a sex tape that was leaked. What an idiot. So there was a sex tape that was leaked, or intimate video of himself and Suleiman that got leaked online because he sent a video to some friends and it got out. So that's 2021. Obviously, she got shot in 2023. You can start piecing some things together, some things where emotional security is getting questioned. You know, I don't know about anyone else, but if I have a girlfriend, I just have never thought to myself to send a video to any of my boys. I'm just, that for me is kerfuff, right? And 2021, he would have been he's 30 plus. 2021 is only 5 years ago. Yeah, he's at least 33. He's a grown-ass man at that point. Sending a video of you and the girl doing things is stuff that we used to do at 16, 15. I never did it once, but I'm just saying to you, I remember young boys doing that at 16, 17, getting excited to show up at people they're having shagging. But bro, as a grown-ass man, your girl, the girl that you love, and I believe he does love her, to uncover her like that, bro. I know it's a mistake that obviously got out there, but it just shows again, like, this is things that break the trust aspect. You get what I'm saying to you? Like, things like this shows a level of immaturity. Someone said, yes, a level of immaturity. And that is probably, again, these things might play in the mind, especially if you didn't repair the relationship correctly at the time. You know, sometimes you don't repair it, but you kind of just get on with it. So it's like, okay, he said sorry. It wasn't enough for you, but you know what? I'm not going to make it a big deal. Let me continue on with the relationship. But you never really got over it because you never felt like it was fully addressed and fully sorted out. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So that could also play into it. So again, these are things that can also play with it in terms of why she may not feel comfortable just being able to say a thing. Because again, she's not even saying career. She's saying just get a job. She's not even saying, look, I've got plans and aspirations to be an entrepreneur. I've got things in my mind. Like, that's not what she's talking about. She wants a job. Like, she wants to job like us, blood. Yeah, that should tell you all. So it's very different. It's not like this person has aspirations to, like, you know, I have be my own boss and Nah, I want a job. I just need you to understand what that means. That is a level that's so different. You know what I mean? Like job. Yeah. Go for it, Jay.
I've looked for her as well. He already proposed last year. at the gender reveal. So can you imagine going through all of that and the person is just your boyfriend? You've had his child, go through that trauma, that person still hasn't locked it down, so to speak. So yeah, we can understand a bit more about the there's multiple things going on here, right? The multiple factors that exist in this currently where she feels, I think for herself, well, they're both feeling disconnected. But I think where the issue is that what they need, they're both doing the same thing, but what they need addressed is different. But I think she's not capable of truly addressing what he needs. And that's because she's not talking, / he is not capable of addressing what she truly needs in this moment. And I think that's, and it makes it hard for me to actually see that there's truly going to be a happy way out. That they're from a point of view that they are able to do it. That if they get therapy, and it's going to take time, it's going to take years, but slowly they're able to draw things out and educate each other. That's great. But I see this as like a slow death. I'll be honest with you, especially after, because if the gender reveal was this time last year, as we know, having kids can change a whole relationship. It can change a whole dynamic. You know, for her, it's now I've got a son. I got more responsibility now. I still haven't got over the fact that I was left alone before. Maybe I warned you, I don't want to be left alone this much. Has now some trauma. Like you said, bro, I can't trust you. And then when we talk about the immaturity, like I said at the beginning, bro, the fact that the first thing that he said was about other girls in his DMs telling him how well he's doing, that shows you there is a level of immaturity there that exists, and that could possibly be why he's not getting it himself. He's not getting the conversation that he needs to have with his fiance, with the person who, I mean, they haven't even talked about planning for an actual wedding. So I don't know if an actual wedding is being planned or anything like that. But if I was them, I would put a pause on that. I would say there are serious conversations we need to have right now, right now, so that we can get back on track. Because, yeah, right, yeah, they're suffering, man. They're suffering.
I'm gonna try and find a clip, but I think let me see if I can find a clip as well behind that, because there's a part where they discussed another issue. Where they talk about, I think it's about postpartum. Yeah, I got it. And again, this is an important conversation as well. But again, because the first point was so butchered badly about it being a hollow point, this is what happened. This is what tricky, because how do I know you're not using that as a hollow point too? And that's where it becomes difficult. This is why I'm saying telling the truth is really important, because if you don't tell the truth, it begins to taint all the other reasons, right? And something like postpartum is also a trump card. You can't argue with postpartum. So now we've got one point where we're feeling like you're not really telling the truth. Now you're throwing, not throwing, but now you're laying down a card of postpartum too. This is a very difficult place to operate, because now it feels like now I can't say nothing. You know what I mean? And this is why it becomes, this is why telling the truth in the beginning is important, because it just makes it much harder to do everything else and makes everybody question everything else. You know what I mean? So, but I'll play a little bit of clip so they can hear it. It's the last bits, because it's the last bits. Yes, go for it, Jay. You want to say something?
No, I just wanted to say, I didn't even know until I just was doing a bit of research, because you wouldn't even know from these clips. This is actually Hitman's and Cinnamon's own podcast. I thought it was the other two.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just kind of deep in things like this happen when you know there is deep-rooted issues that are not truly being addressed. He feels comfortable to talk about them. She doesn't. These two guests, well, mainly him, having to be the ones to say, "Let me help you." That's a interesting place to be in. To be honest with you,
This is something deeper.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
No, you ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying. It's something deeper.
That shit, me, go out the fucking window.
Yeah.
It's we. And again, you got to move based on the circumstances. And then their circumstances is, and again, I'm outside looking in, their circumstances is, it's not necessary for her to do that. It's not necessary for her to feel that way.
What if it's necessary for her mental?
No.
Postpartum?
Yeah, what if it's
Like,
necessary for her mental?
All of that.
Y'all gotta know this goes way deeper than just her wanting to go get a job. When we carry life inside of us for 10 months, we change so much, not just physically, emotionally, our hormones have changed, our fucking chemical make everything changes.
Let me ask you a question.
You really don't even know who you are.
Let me ask you a question.
Before they're back to normal.
I didn't know who I was for 4 years.
Let me ask you a question. As all these changes are happening, who's that backbone for you?
Your
Who's
partner,
that support
your husband,
for you?
your fiance.
Who's that? When you look in the mirror and you don't recognize you, who is that support system?
It should be my partner.
Fuck
It's my partner.
Fuck should.
But then what about the
Who
days
is?
where, say she had a rough day and the baby has a fever, he's been crying for hours and diarrhea, whatever. It's just, it's been a stressful day. Do you come home and say, baby, you look so beautiful today and you did a really good job. Thank you. And you got this warm plate at the table. Like, are you also giving her props and her credit?
Wait.
For everything that she's done? Because I'm saying it's like,
not to cut you off, but it's like you're saying that as if the man is just out of the way. And I'm speaking for the day-to-day dads. I'm speaking for the niggas who change diapers. I'm speaking for the niggas who help with homework. I'm speaking for the niggas who pour into their kid when they went to that trial, didn't make it, and I gotta goddamn coach them up to be to have the confidence that they need to have. And I feel like that's getting undercut in this conversation. Again, if bro is a distant dad, which y'all saying is 100% right, but the same way you going through that shit, I'm going through that shit.
So I'm glad
that's my baby, just like it is yours.
So the type of person I am, all I do is uplift, saying, we got 7 out the way, baby. Let's get back in this gym. You got a young son. You're 32. When you get older, you're going to want to be right. You're going to have the energy. Let's get back to eating right. I tell her this every day. How many times is it? I tell her this every day. Hey, let's get back right. Like, I don't tell her, oh, get back to your old body. Hey, let's get back right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm the type to, hey, you good. Like, she come here like, oh, I just don't feel. Jasmine, I call Jasmine. Okay, can you do it her? Can you boom, boom, boom? That's the type of thing I am. So it ain't got nothing to do with that side.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. I get more triggered faster because I feel like I can't figure what's going on. So I've been alone edge lately. But when it comes to being a man, provider, uplifting, all that, like I got that.
I'm here.
Like this the most we did this in a long time as far as like we argue over petty stuff. But it was just you brought up the first stuff. And I just felt like the energy made me just say, let me just bring it here. So I just feel like it's a minor problem. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing crazy. I know she we emotional right now, but that's another thing. I'd be like, I'm on your side. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
You know, I forgot. I'll find a clip later, but go for it, bro. Because it's interesting that he said that he uplifts her. I remember later on in the clip, and I have to find where I put my timestamp. He says something like he's talking like about how great she is, and it's one of the first times you see her actually turn and look at him, and that made me think that he may be thinking when he says get back in the gym, eat right, he thinks these are compliments, and these are not compliments, bro. Like, I'm not saying he isn't complimenting her. I'm saying to you that it may not be taken as that, because I'll find the clip hopefully where she turns her head because he's saying like how great she is, she's this, she's that, and she's not, because all the time we've seen a clip, she's not kind of looking at him. She's kind of like looking into the distance. She's signing out. She's disconnected. But this little clip here, I did find it for you. She turns and looks at him, and it's like she's trying to listen to what he's saying, which tells me probably there is some starvation in the affirmation area that needs to hit a particular area. Maybe you are affirming her, but not in the right area. You know, you can spend pounds or you can spend euros, right? But the translation is, if you're in the wrong country, euros don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? So you can be affirming, but maybe not affirming in the right area. So, but I don't know what you picked up from that. It was a very long clip I kind of played. I thought the postpartum part was going to come quicker, but it didn't. But yeah, flow, bro.
Nah, bro. I think the main thing for me is that we're now at a point where the other bro, now he's also being biased too. So he's no longer helping the situation. Now it's basically man against woman. That's all it is, you know, on both sides of the fence, which again is only going to reinforce the issues that they have. And I'm sure brother and his wife are going to talk about it when they go home, and they're going to be fine. They're going to go into it. He's probably going to keep to his stance. She's probably going to keep to her stance. But the truth of the matter is, now we're not even hitting what they both need anymore. And I think with even what you just said with that clip, one of the things I was thinking is, let me put myself in Hitman's shoes and how he is as a person. In terms of that response that he just gave about going in the gym and etc., he's responding to her based off like a mindset that she's a baddie. You know, the baddie aesthetic. Get in the gym, look a certain way, etc. But I think the whole point is, how is she feeling on the inside? Which is why she perked up when it came about the postpartum. And he might be someone who doesn't fully understand what that can actually do to a woman, what that actually does to any relationship or a marriage. On top of, by the way, everything else that they've been through that hasn't truly been resolved. So I think where he's focusing on, I'm providing, and it goes back to the show I keep talking about, bro. He's focusing on, I'm providing, why aren't you happy? I'm doing everything to make your life easier, everything to make your life good. I'm doing my job. Why aren't you happy? But he is not clocking there are multiple things going on with her. Multiple things happening. And it all comes from a place where she doesn't feel safe, / she's not happy with herself on the inside of what's going on. And I say that simply because even if she was to get a job, I think experience will tell you that she's still not going to be happy because there's still plenty of things that need to be addressed. In fact, it will make her life a bit more. I mean, she'll probably enjoy the agency away from the house, away from the child. Do you know what I mean? He's out doing his thing. She's out doing his thing. Maybe he's going to be home more to allow her to do her thing. No problem. And by the way, I don't know why they don't actually start a business anyway. They've got enough money to start a business. Why not do that? That I don't understand anyway. But I think even if she does get a job, she's not going to be happy anyway. So to me, it's all of the stuff is great, what they're saying, and it could be true, but it's at the surface level. We have to keep saying it, bro. This is a much more a deeper issue, like that needs to be tackled over time if they're gonna become strong again. Because there was a point in there where you could see his body language was now away from her, so you can see right in that moment he wasn't happy now happy in the same way that he was during the conversation. But they probably kept it cool because it's in public, you know, we can all see. But this is the point where we can probably tell this is where they'll probably start arguing in their own household. This is probably where they'll start saying things and it will just get to wherever length it's going to go and they'll just go to sleep with no real resolution. Yeah, they might make up, they might kiss, but the issue truly hasn't been resolved because it's not. And it's so funny. Sometimes the way the Lord works this way. It's slightly out of context. I was reading something on Instagram. Some lady, what's her name? His daughter, I think her name is called. I think she's quite popular. But the point that she was making was about how couples deal with conflict. And on one breath, the point was not every issue is going to be solved with one conversation. He seems like a one conversation guy right now. Whereas for her, it's never going to be that because there's so much to unpack. And I think as a piece of advice to every man who is watching this, unfortunately, yes, you may not be a therapist, but you're going to have to adopt a certain mindset when it comes to, understanding the person that you're with and actually wanting to get to the bottom of it before you step out the house to even go see a therapist. At least try to understand what exactly is going on. That doesn't mean you're in the wrong. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. What it means that you're caring, you're taking the lead to actually say, if this continues, the ship is going to crash. Which then leads me to say, the fact that he's not got that yet, to her, yes, she needs to communicate, but to her, they might think, what type of leader do I have who thinks it's all great just because you're providing financially? You're not even seeing that I'm dying on the inside or whatever's going on. And I think that is a common thing, by the way, which creates a disconnect. I'm suffering, but you can't see it. I'm suffering, but you keep talking about everything else except what's actually happening on the inside. And that's a very big common thing that happens in all types of relationships, man.
Last little clip, and then this is actually the very end. Actually, this conversation where this happens.
Can't hear it, bro.
Sorry about. Here we go.
I say the way you handle 7, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I do my role. She said I do my role good, but as far as like you understand, since my son's 7 months, she been in front of his face every single day, every minute. I done left 2 days to go get the money, come back. You know what I'm saying? I done did 2 days. I done went to the studio.
Right there on her hip still.
Like, and I salute her every time. Like you took motherhood on the chin. Like you that.
Got to.
I told her, I just tell you that. So you did that. Like you tough. Like shit. I'm telling you, I couldn't on the good up pumping bottles. The whole routine. She been doing that every single day since he was born.
That's probably one of the first time I saw her in that 30-minute clip, because obviously the actual episode is an hour and 50. It's that 30-minute clip that I saw her kind of like nodding her head to agreeance, because majority of the time she's either very still or she's disconnected looking into the sky. This time she's actually looking at him and nodding in agreement with what he's saying. So I think there's a little bit of starvation here. I think she needs some affirmations in a particular area, but I don't think she is very attached to her emotions. We often see this with two couples where if the woman is less detached with her emotions, she ends up finding a man that's a bit more attached with his emotions, right? Seems like he's a little bit more open to about emotions. I'm not saying he's the best person, but I'm saying he seems more open, where she seems a bit more shut down when it comes to her emotions in terms of actually being able to process it, understand it, and be able to verbalize it. And so in that moment, I was like, okay, well, she looks like she really is. She still looks sad, still looks down, but she is. You can see that she's focused on him and what he's saying, and she's nodding her head in agreement when he's giving her saying she does this, that, and I couldn't be able to do it. But it's almost like the affirmation is hitting somewhere. It's doing something at the moment, right? Maybe she's a bit starved of that. Maybe she needs to be able to communicate that this is the affirmation I need. It's not get back in the gym. I shouldn't say he didn't say like to get back in the gym, but the affirmation isn't, eat right. The affirmation I need is like, you're doing a good job. Maybe and again, this might come back to what you were saying. This might be just her insecurity, becoming a new mother, looking at her body, looking at the fact that she might feel like she's not a good mother. She might be, is she doing enough? Am I, all that kind of stuff could also, in that particular space, like there may be some insecurities that she actually really is feeling, and without being able to verbalize what she needs as reassurance, you get starved, and closed mouths don't get fed. And this is why we're saying that argument about I need to pay for my child is really and truly, now looking at it, it's a deflection. It's a deflection from being vulnerable and being deep. And that is an indication that's not something new. That's actually probably something that's been happening for a very long time. Because even if let's say, for instance, he was not a great partner, right? If she was in touch with her emotions and the way she explained herself, it would have come out in a rude way. It would have come out in some way that would have been rude, like, you don't do da-da-da-da. I should have just said it outrageously, not caring about how he feels. The fact that she can't even say it that way tells me that probably she's not in tune with herself enough and hasn't built that inward assertiveness to be able to say, this is what I'm going through, this is what's happening to me, this is what I need from you in that particular space. And he can ask as many questions as he wants. That's also her journey. She does have to figure that part out. You can't push her there, can't force her there, and she needs to do that herself to figure that out. Otherwise, we're going to be back here again in a few months' time, because I'm sure these two probably might end up ignoring it or discussing it. It doesn't get nowhere, and we're back here again in 6 months' time, 9 months' time, and a year's time, 5 years' time, however long it takes before this becomes a very destructive cycle. So it was interesting to kind of see that last bit as well.
Amazingly said, bro. And I think, again, this issue is genderless, right? But when someone is like this, what tends to happen is there's no middle ground. They're either withdrawn or silent, or they come with one outburst, they're under attack, which is what she's highlighted, which is what, she's talked about. So it means their arguments are never truly about what the real issue is. And I think when that happens, you start to realize the relationship starts to do this, and that actually starts to bother you a lot more. But the problem is there are some people who still don't have what it takes to actually say, all right, let's actually, take those steps to come back together. And there's something that actually dawned on me, right? But the point is completely gone from me. But it's something that I just clocked, and I was like, nah, there's way more going on here. Let me see if let me try to walk it back. So the fact that she turned to him and basically acknowledging her to say, well done, you. One of the things I thought about was, that's great, but how about giving her some rest? How about saying, you know what, babe, I got you. Do what you want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he doesn't. We don't know the dynamics, right? One of the things that we both say is, even before the baby comes, plan when those days in the week where she just can be herself, do her thing, rest, you know, he looks after the child. It doesn't seem like that's happening. It seems like for 7 months straight, she's done all the work. Also, on top of the affirmation, give her rest also. Give her time, you know, which could point to, effectively, even though, yeah, it's a surface level point she's making, it's not really about that. But for her to say, I just want a job, means I just want to get out of the house. I just want to be free. I just want to do my thing. I'm not going to be in the closet with my girls. I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to be doing that. Because the fact that she doesn't need a job, and why not start a business? But starting a business means she's still going to stay in the home. So this is why I say this is a surface level thing that's going on. There's way more deeper things actually happening. And I think, I agree with you, Bo, the starvation. One of the things I understood, though, is that starvation, what she's being starved from can never truly be filled in this moment, because she's still going through what she's going through, right? It's still early doors. So the best way for him to navigate is to see what's going on, is still to continue it, but to understand this just needs time. I know sometimes as men, especially the way he is, you probably think, problem solver, solving the issue, and it's done. This is not that situation for it. But he's going to have to continue to show up in ways that he probably hasn't before, because she's having to show up in ways that she hasn't, and she may be looking at his life as, your life hasn't changed. So he has to realize he has to show up differently than what he has. I can't remember if this is his first child or not. I don't think it is anyway, but at least this is the first woman that we've seen publicly that he's really pouring into properly. You know what I mean? But so he has to show up. He can't just show up as Hitman, Holla, this rap star. He has to really show up as this husband before he's even walked down the aisle. And that could be something that's also missing. She could also feel that she's showing up as a wife in all areas. He's only showing up in one area. And I don't feel poured into. Like you said, bro, I feel starved. But it goes back to, there is so much going on that a lot of this is surface level points, that there is a much deeper issue going on that is a combination of everything they've been through in the past. Well, what we know is in the past, 6 years? We don't know. What about the 4 years before then? What's going on? So I know there are rumors about cheating, rumors about this, rumors about that. You know, we can't say Hitman was, even though he's still quite immature, he would have been immature back then in some of his decisions and behaviors. Oh, and I forgot to even mention, bro, the fact that he even sent the video around of his missus. To me, the first thing I thought that was after 4 years of being together. So my mindset was, she might have been the only one that thought she was in a relationship. Because how are you sending a video in the most vulnerable position with your missus to your boy in the first place? Why do you want to show your boy that? Yeah, like I never did that myself, bro, so I'm with you on that. But those are things that we did when we was younger, and we did it to women that we didn't really respect, right? It was almost like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you want your turn, go ahead too. You didn't do it to someone who you loved, who you wanted to pour into, etc. It don't make sense. So to me, that in itself is wild, absolutely wild. That's a very big cause for concern. And from what we don't know, not that particular action, but there could be many more instances where he has shown that in the relationship to date. And after having the child, she's now had to look at her life and her relationship in a slightly different way, and is now starting to question what was doing before. Oh, as you mentioned, right? During the first however long, things are fine. Why is this showing up now? And that's because maybe things were okay from that level of responsibility. Now something new, different is required. Maybe there needs to be a level of growth, a change in understanding, which is completely normal, by the way. but maybe he's not seeing it. He's thinking, I'm just going to show up in the same way. No, brother. No. Mm-mm. There needs to be a lot of change, because right now you are even missing the mark on understanding what she needs. Yes, she needs to communicate. She has equal culpability in that, right? But we can focus on each as an individual and say, yes, she needs to communicate, and he needs to kind of set up and understand, all right, I need to be asking different questions instead of taking things so personally. That's me, bro. Yeah, she doesn't have time for herself.
Yeah, you know what's interesting also? The last little bit is I just went onto TikTok and I looked at TikTok, and it had Cinnamon, and I said, and this is something that's really interesting. Her weight is very different. She looks different. So when we're talking about so many things can change, this is also one of the things that can change, right? So you've been shot, you've been pregnant, you've got had a kid. You're looking at your body, and your body don't look the same, yeah. And she looks wildly different. I can't lie, like there's a difference, bro. You know what I'm saying to you? I want to hold you. Sorry, I'll try to. Yeah, she looks wildly different. So it's intriguing that it's intriguing, not intriguing, but it's another part of the conversation again about things that are happening that may not be always observed in terms of things that happen internally for the person. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And like you said, bro, they've been married for 9 years, and obviously the first 4, that stupid thing that he sent, it's really wild behavior, but it's like it's a really crazy mistake. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, it's a crazy mistake which you know, just shouldn't happen. But again, it just points to that level of immaturity. And I also think this as well, like, I don't know if he's firstborn or not, right? But majority of us who often end up being a firstborn, you end up being trained to parent in some shape or form, right? So you learn diaper changes, you learn bottle changes, you learn to distill the bottles. You know that you got to dab the bottle on your hand to make sure, like, is it hot and taste it? Make sure, like, you get thrown into that where you ain't got a choice. So when kids come, you're kind of in your element in a natural space. You're kind of in your element already because you kind of already had to do it already. Do you know what I mean? And I think some of us as men, specifically I'm talking about the men, when it's not necessarily a natural thing, what can happen is that you can kind of leave it to the woman. It's like, okay, well, I'll let you handle it. Like, do you know what I'm saying to you? And again, I get it. He's making money. So he's probably thinking to himself, I'm doing my role, you're doing your role. And that's not necessarily anything wrong with that. That's your setup. But like you said, bro, there may be need for opportunity for just a breather, a reprieve, a bit of a break, time away from the little munchkin. You know what I'm saying to you? You know, even if it, and again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, you know. So maybe there needs some aspect of that. But again, this needs conversation. It needs saying out loud, because we're saying a bunch of things and we're putting things out there. We're not 100% correct because we don't have all the information until she decides to say it out loud. So there's definitely just a disconnect. Definitely something happened. I think this is before the baby came out. The baby just probably exasperated whatever was on there before. And that's why we've got the situation we've got right now. So yeah. But look, I'm gonna let you round up, Jay, because obviously that was our last points. But of course we'll be back next week. But I'll let you round up, Cap.
Thanks. Well, look, as much as this, you know, it wasn't really straightforward, right? There was a lot of points, like you said, bro, that were points, but weren't really points, but weren't really points. So you had to really sit down and think, what really are they saying and what's going on? But let's stress that this is a very common occurrence in a lot of relationships and a lot of marriages. It's very deep rooted. And when this grows after some time, it can lead to bitterness, resentment. Usually when people say we're just two different people, that doesn't come with silence. That comes with a lot of arguments. That comes with a lot of issues, a lot of unresolved conversations and circumstances. And the key thing here is be able to see them early, but also be able to speak about them if that wound is deep inside of you. Because as much as you might be the one that's hurt, you not speaking as well, you're not saying what you need. Thank you, bro. I actually remembered my point. Not at any time did she actually say to him, "This is what I need from you." But that was never even asked. Please, with your spouse, ask them, what do you need from me? Not in a passive aggressive way, not even in an aggressive way. Just have a genuine conversation. Maybe I don't quite understand. Maybe that's what you need from me. But right now, all I can do is just ask you, what actually do you need from me right now? What do you want me to do? And then be able to communicate to say, do you know what? I do need maybe some rest, or I do need more of your time, more time with you as my partner. Maybe I need a slightly different focus, so I'm not just always doing this one thing because it's tiring, whatever the case may be. Maybe, you know, maybe I just want to go out more and see my friends, etc. You know, maybe I just don't want to be the person that you always just come home to. Like, I'm not trying to make out whatever is bad. I'm just acknowledging what goes on in today's world, right? How you deal with that in your relationship, marriage is entirely up to you. What you want, what your standards are, whatever the case may be. But these are the most common issues that happen. So again, please communicate and just speak to your partner, honestly. Just speak to them early. Because it often gets to a point where, because you didn't speak early, you're now at a point where you can't speak at all. It becomes extremely difficult. And it's a hard hill to climb, difficult hill to climb. And you can see your relationship is suffering. And this is why some people, their solution is to escape. Their solution is to break up. They're not, quote unquote, healed when that happens. Not everything is all kumbaya. But in that moment, it's easier for people to break up and blame the other party than it is to have a conversation and come back together. And this is the kind of scary bit of it, because a lot of people see this coming, but they wait until they've got a lot more information. Again, it's genderless. Both sides do this. But they wait till they get a lot of information to justify their actions. Whereas the truth is, all this time, they were just horrible communicators. They either didn't speak or they didn't know how to listen, or both. So, yeah, man, that's the piece that I'll leave everyone with. As much as it's a celebrity couple, this is a very common issue that we can all find ourselves in or have been in. So I'm sure everyone who's been listening is able to relate, to be honest with you. But it gives food for thought about what our future looks like and the conversations that we need to have from early, the boundaries that we need to have in place. Like even earlier on, bro, when I was kind of meditating on just relationship dynamics, one of the things that kind of came to me was there are some people who, when they are in conflict, they find it hard to actually pour into their person that they love. And that can create its own issues, right? Especially if the person who finds it hard to pour into the person they love was also the person that created the issue. There's like a double slap. So it kind of just brought me back to dealing with conflict in a marriage, in a relationship, is one of the best skills that you can learn. And it starts with how you deal with conflict with yourself, and that's going to translate how you deal with conflict with your partner. Because to withdraw or go from 0 to 100 on the attack, none of that is going to help your relationship to survive. And we see from this situation, the issue is either not talking, one is not talking, and the other one is not listening. They are both not truly understanding how each other feels, and they're just saying, effectively, you've made me feel this way, but they're not truly getting to the bottom of what's going on, bro.
I appreciate the breakdown, Jay, for the summary as well there. Audience, listen, it's been an entertaining conversation. I've appreciated it. It's been fun to have this kind of discussion and break it down. We're going to be back here next Tuesday again, 8:30, kicking it off once more. Yeah, man, it was a good deep dive, and I hope that any of you guys, ladies, are listening as well, and that you got something from it. I know you did, because you guys were entertaining the conversation. We'll have another one of these where we can just break down a video. I think it's easier because people can see what we're talking about. So we'll break down one of these next Tuesday, and we'll go again. Make sure you guys stay locked, stay loaded, and we'll see you very, very soon. Much love, much appreciation. We'll see you again next week. Ta-ra.